folks, Jack here from Peach Guitars. Today I'm joined by resident Clapton and Knopfler expert Joel Fisk.
Hello.
Welcome back, Joel. You've probably seen Joel before on anything that's Knopfler or Clapton themed, because it's really your wheelhouse more so than anybody else's. I think you do a superb job of coaxing those tones.
You haven't heard anything yet?
Well, this video was very much happening at Joel's insistence, because we just kind of felt that this was a particularly unique week for arrivals. So from Suhr, this Knopfler Spec turned up, which was fantastic, and also this incredible Masterbuilt Todd Krause Clapton Spec Strat. So, perfect pairing here in conjunction with another recent arrival, the return of the Soldano SLO 30. So we pulled all this stuff out and just wanted to see what happens, and put Joel through his paces of playing the lead parts of each. So, in your opinion, Joel, what is it about this guitar tone, or these guitar tones, that work so well? Why is it such a magic configuration?
Well, I think it was two signature guitars that came around the same kind of point in the mid to late 80s, where I think both Clapton and Knopfler wanted to be able to take the stage with just one guitar instead of Les Pauls and Strats and 335s and so on and so forth. And these were kind of born from that. I think Clapton's was maybe a little earlier than the Knopfler.
So when would this have been then? Clapton's would have been
like 88, 89.
Oh, later 80s.
Yeah, 88 was when it came out. He was playing them a couple of years before, but I think it went into production as like a factory line model in the, I think it was 88.
Wasn't he right behind Yngwie Malmsteen, I believe?
I think, yeah, I can't remember if he was the first or if he was the first or second, I'm not sure, but it kind of, I think it helped to turn Fender around quite a lot in the late 80s as well.
Yeah.
And the Knopfler one was played on the, he was kind of seen with it from the sort of 86, 87, but mainly kind of famous for it for the Mandela gig, which was Wembley Stadium in 88.
Was that Pink Suit era?
Pink Suit was a couple of years after.
See, this is why we've got Joel involved in this, because he knows the outfits that correspond to the guitars and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But this one interests me a little bit more, because when you if you're not a big Knopfler fan, like I do appreciate his work, but I'm not really deep into the history of his playing and stuff like that. This, if you just looked at this guitar or looked at the spec sheet at least, this doesn't really make any sense.
No, it's not Les Paul and it's not a Strat, and it's got a Floyd.
But you plug it in and it does coax the sounds, doesn't it?
And I think his main thing with that, which is kind of more visually obvious, is the fact that he can get the kind of money for nothing Brothers in Arms Les Paul tones from the back pickup.
Yeah.
And then you can go straight from that to Sultans of Swing, Telegraph Road, Tunnel of Love, or whatever on the the front two together.
All the hits.
All the hits.
So let's just delve a little deeper then into what makes this guitar what it is. Is it mahogany wood body?
I believe so, yeah.
So I guess he was going more Les Paul in the choice of woods, but obviously an amazing maple top. Rosewood board.
Carved top as well on that, which is, I think,
carved top, yes,
quite beautiful.
May or may not come across depending on which angle we're looking at, but it is something quite special that you don't see on any other S styles that frequently. But then obviously you've got a Goto, Floyd Rose style bridge, locking tuners, gold for days, really comfortable. If you're familiar with Suhr guitars, it's quite a slim profile. I want to say it kind of feels a little bit like the satin feel of like the Pete Thorne model as well, but a little bit skinnier.
Well, the Pete Thorne was allegedly based around the prototype for the Knopfler, which was a flat top one, and it was that kind of thing. I think that when he came down and saw us a few years back, he was saying that that's kind of what inspired him for that model. It does feel similar to the Pete Thorne. Yeah, I think it's quite a flat fingerboard. That's the first thing you notice when you pick it up. I always try and grab hold of that whenever I can, whenever we have one come through the store, which isn't very often, and they're often in and out of the door before.
This is very much the issue, so that's why we wanted to do this really quickly. This is kind of impromptu, because we knew as soon as this came in, it would be photographed, it would head to the website, and it would be gone. So luckily we both got to have a go on it and sort of see what it's all about. And even just playing it through this little cleanish Dr. Z Jetter amp, those clean tones that he was known for earlier on
still there,
do kind of come through, even with EMG pickups, which have had a bad name for way too long. I think they're such a great pickup set, great pickup maker. And there's a mid boost as well on this tone control. So with the bridge pickup, you get that really fat kind of, I guess, what would he have been using originally to reference this tone? Would it have been a burst?
It would have been the an 80s reissue of a 59, which was on like Money for Nothing and like, Brothers in Arms and all that kind of era.
So yeah, it's a very cool guitar, and it's a little bit of an enigma because we don't ever get to spend enough time with one to really make a detailed feature on it.
It will probably sell by the time this video goes out.
It's kind of like maybe a generation below, or a few generations below, but the equivalent of a Fiesta Red Strat with a maple neck, I think, for that association that guitar players just have with their favourite guitar player. They just love everything this represents because it is kind of Knopfler in a guitar. Whether it makes sense or not to you, it is just a beautiful thing, and it really makes sense.
It does come through
when you dig deeper.
When I've never played one electrically until now, to play one plugged in, but that's always been the Knopfler guitar for me, because that was like my first concert I ever went to was Dire Straits when I was like 6 years old, 5 years old. That's what he played.
Yeah.
And I kind of always wanted to because I was like, how can that work with that setup and the Floyd style and the HSS? Yeah. But when you do plug it in, it didn't take much tweaking, to kind of dial in that sound. And it was, obviously he was using a 100-watt Soldano and a fridge full of,
all the racks.
Racks and everything. But there was a tiny bit of chorus and a bit of reverb on there, and that was it. And it does sort of instantly make sense as to why he chose that.
Artistically as well, these two tie in together quite well.
Yeah.
Not just the gear, but obviously they were kind of. Clapton went through the reinvention of his career in the mid to late 80s as well. Happened to coincide that they ended up using similar gear. I mean, you'll know better than I do, but they're both Soldano users. They're both the guys that are associated with that.
Yeah, Knopfler was the guy who had the Soldano, and then he was playing in Clapton's band, and Clapton was playing, I think it was like Dean Markley or Fender, some kind of, it just wasn't really working out for him, I don't think. But he heard Knopfler Soldano and then got straight on the phone, I think, to Mike Soldano, who built him one. So they shared that. They both shared the mid boost, and they shared, I think, the desire for the players to be able to hit the stage with just one guitar, and know that it's kind of, you can do everything you want.
Yeah, and the nice thing as well is that they created some timeless designs too. These could have been very much of their time.
Well, obviously, this is the later, the more kind of, I think it was around 2001 that Clapton switched from the lace sensors to the vintage noiseless pickups. But the tones are pretty, they're pretty similar. It doesn't take much, I think on a blindfold test you'd struggle to hear the difference.
But the nuances in the playing, it's the same with all those great players of a certain era where, before this era, it was obviously lots of Gibsons into Marshalls. And despite the rigs being pretty much the same, you always could tell who was playing from the nuances in the playing. Whether it was just a Les Paul straight into a Marshall Super Lead. It's kind of the same thing here, but with way more options.
Yeah, absolutely. First time I've ever played a Soldano as well, and the sound is right there.
I thought you were quite excited.
It was, it's been a long time.
Because this is your dream.
This is heaven, Jack. I'm in heaven at the moment.
Yeah, and this is the 30 as well, which is worth pointing out that a lot of people have asked for this. We've only just got these back from the first time we received them. I know a lot of people have wanted to see and hear this in this context.
And it also is, perfect timing, obviously, with John Mayer releasing Eric Clapton's new single last week. He was spotted with a Toto. Exactly, he was spotted with a Soldano in there, and it's kind of, there's definitely a nod back. I don't think just through Mayer, but through a lot of guitarists now. It's okay to like the 80s again. It's not. There's no kind of stigma attached to it now.
No. And all jokes aside, it's just a great guitar tone. Yeah. Works for popular music. Yeah. Same thing with like a Strat into a deluxe reverb, that always works. Yeah. This is kind of,
and you can see why so many guys went for it, and still go for it. I mean, they didn't hang around long at all when we had the first batch of the 100s and the 30s. And I think there was more anticipation for the 30 because it was maybe more manageable than the 100.
Sounds great through that cab as well.
Does what you need to do, absolutely.
Just 2x12 cab, vintage 30s. Just that's kind of pairs well. Obviously, the 100 watt you're going to want the 412, but the 30 with the 2x12, that's perfect.
Great rig.
So the question is, if you could only have one, which would it be?
It's an easy question for me because I already own one of these.
Okay.
I have lusted after the Suhr for a long time, but they're different, but they're similar, and they're not just limited to playing the music of the signature artist. You could do so much with both guitars. I feel I don't need an HSS guitar at home because the mid boost on this just makes the bridge pickup sound like a humbucker. So you can do so much with both. It's just depends on what people prefer.
It's handy you said this one because I'd have that.
Well, there we go.
Clapton Strats I think make a lot of sense for exactly what you just said. Mm-hmm. So in short, it's two phenomenal instruments, a great amplifier, and we just wanted to pull it all together while we can. And speaking of that, if you're interested in getting on board with any of these bits of gear that you've seen in today's video, then click the link as quickly as you can to peachguitars.com in the description below. Chances are these things will probably have come by the time you actually get to see this video, but you may be in luck, who knows. Someone's going to be very happy with this, someone's going to be very happy with that. And if you are interested in getting one and you miss out this time, just get in touch with the Peach Guitars sales team and we will be able to procure you another. So I think that's about it for now. If you've enjoyed this video, leave a like down below, comment down below with your thoughts as well. Head to the website for more information. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.